Everything starts with me in the sense that I sit there with a notepad and ideas and try and jot things down, and I tend to come to the development process with the other writers, with the story editors, with the executive producer, with the directors, ultimately with the actors, with an open mind, but with a very clear idea of where I want the stories to go. I will bring the sort of short ideas for the stories to the table at the beginning of the process, and then those ideas will be developed communally, as it were, and there'll be a huge amount of input from the other creative people on the show, from the writers to the story editors to the producer. And having been through that process, I then go away and kind of redo the stories and rethink them. And at that point, the writers go away and do their own versions of what we've discussed. So I'll do my own episodes, Simon Tyrrell will do his, Gabbie Chiappe will do hers, Jimmy Gardner his, and so on. And by that point, it will be a fairly rigorous process. In other words, the stories will be very clear, and the writers will come back with a version of the storyline, but obviously a fully fleshed out and very dramatised version of the storyline. So they bring a huge amount of themselves to exploring the characters within that storyline. One of the things I particularly wanted to do was separate Abby from the rest of the gang in the first 2 episodes, to see how they would respond without their kind of moral compass, and I think that's an interesting area to explore. And I also wanted to see Abby isolated. Abby's always been with other people, throughout the series before, and now she's on her own in these first 2 episodes. I think you do learn a lot from the chemistry that you get between actors. You realign your thoughts about who you're going to put together, who you're going to keep apart. That's the great beauty of doing a series. You can keep on refining it. The development simply never stops. I sort of noticed that there was a way that you could put Al and Sarah together that I thought would be really sweet and very nice to see, and then you could wrench that away in tragedy, which is what happens. So it's kind of balancing up the characters, seeing how that would go. I think at the initial stages we had, of the 6 storylines that we had, 3 of them changed very dramatically actually during the process of development. And one story, episode 2 story, changed completely to something else. So that's part of writing series. It's the beauty of writing series, that you can see how things work and you can change them, you keep moving. It never stops. I was making changes to the storylines literally with days to go before the first episode started shooting. And I think that's the way it works pretty much on most series.